Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So,
Yes.
yes, welcome to our inaugural first episode of Soulpreneurs, the journey from corporate to entrepreneurship. So, yes, I guess this needs a brief introduction of me and Jess in terms of who we are and what we do. So, I'm going to start first. My name is Tonya Shaw. I am Tonya the Business Alchemist on Instagram. I do astrology and human design, and I help soulpreneurs to put themselves out there in as authentic a way as possible, following their human design as well as their astrology. So, in a nutshell, what I do is basically personal branding, but it's not about fonts and colors and stuff like that. It's really more of an inside job and an internal journey for yourself to, I guess, strengthen the values, your core of who you are, and be able to put that out in the world comfortably. Yes, so that's me, Tonya, the Business Alchemist, Tonya Shaw, and I hand the mic over to Jasmine.
Wow.
Jasmine, tell everyone who you are.
I love Tonya. You're so calm. You're so grounded. You just put me at ease. So, so just so everybody knows, I'm a bit nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous because we've done this last week. I've done YouTube videos, so I don't know why I'm so nervous, but eventually I'm gonna come down. So, hi everybody. I'm Jasmine. So my Instagram handle is my god. Okay, I'm so sorry. You totally should watch this instead of just listening to it because we are doing like funny, stupid stuff. So, really watch and listen at the same time. So anyway, I'm Jasmine. Look at that beautiful mark. My Instagram handle is SunPlutoAlchemist. And I'm basically a Reiki and mental alchemy practitioner. You can come onto my Instagram to know about more of my stuff, like what do I offer. I'm also currently still studying counseling psychology. I'm very interested in psychology, depth psychology, and all those woo stuff, basically like energy, vibration, matrix, becoming a conscious creator, and all those stuff. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. You realize that the two of us actually have alchemy in our profiles.
Yes.
That's very interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
We go deep.
Yeah, we go deep. And dark.
We'll come to that. Like in the following episodes, y'all will start to know. And when we start to get relaxed, right, all of the dark stuff will come out already.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Next question I have for us both is, why is this podcast so important to us both? Wow. Okay. Very impromptu. It's very difficult for me to also come up with something. But basically, I feel that a lot of the times as individuals going through this world, especially if we're coming from the corporate world, I think most of us have been conditioned and we've been told from a very young age that, the best thing you can do for your life is to go to university or go and take a course, and then after that start a job and work for someone, and that's it. Your life is set for you. And I feel that this wasn't the case for me. I got there, and when I got there, I was like, yeah, then so what else, right? Is this it?
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel satisfied. I just felt like something was amiss, or I just wasn't happy, right, with the way my corporate life was. Even though I had nice colleagues, I had really great bosses, I even had like a great work-life balance, but something was just not right. And at that time, I just couldn't put my finger on it. And so what we want to do with this podcast as well is to show you a different point of view, to show you how maybe you can work. And it doesn't really have to be a corporate thing at the end of the day. It can be an entrepreneurial thing. You can do your own thing. Or you can do both at the same time, right? So yeah, that's why this podcast was important to me, because I wanted to just show people what life would be like if you stepped out of the corporate world.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I just want to share like overarching, like why is this like not just this podcast, but more so of like this and all of the following podcasts of like why is it important to me. So like I think I've been on kind of like the same journey as you, like being corporate, doing whatever the society asks me to do, telling me that if I follow this route I will be happy, and all this while I am not. And I feel like there's a lot of like pent up emotions and pent up like thoughts and thinking that I have nowhere to share, that I have like nowhere else I can place my energy onto lah. Like and after doing all of this and getting to know more and more people in the spiritual community in Singapore, so to say, and especially like knowing Tonya, right? And I start to get to know like more and more people who are able to look, just to like kind of look beyond and see beyond what the society want us to do, like approves of like certain things, that thinking that if we just follow that route we will be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the more we get to talk about this stuff, like about our true emotions and our true thoughts, right? And we are like, yes, why is this like not talked about? And I feel like there will be somebody out there, right, who actually feels the same as I did, and not knowing anybody around them who is like being able to talk deep or talk about such topic. And I feel like by us like doing this podcast, be it like whether is it this topic, whether you're like considering to transit from corporate to entrepreneur, or is it some other topic that we're gonna talk about, I feel like it's gonna hopefully help somebody out there resonate. And if you do, please reach out to us. Yes, that's kind of my
Yes.
thoughts.
That's
Yes.
cool. That's cool. Yeah, and I like what you say about the deepness and the depth of the topics that we cover. I think it's because, like a lot of the time, you read a story and then someone tells you how they got from corporate to entrepreneurship, and it sounds like a magical story, right? It sounds like they just got from point A to B, and then there was a little bit of struggle, and they're there. And
Yeah.
the thing is, we never really actually there. Even though we
Yeah.
are actually here in entrepreneurship, there's always this sense that, hey, I want to go there as well.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way we're never quite satisfied. But I wanted to also kind of bring up the realness of things rather than make it a magical fairy godmother moment. That it's not about that. It's really just to share with you more also about the struggles that we go through and the potential, challenges that we face. But it's not to discourage anybody. It's really just to keep it real for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, keep encouraging you on your journey if you are actually intending to start this journey too.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
I feel like the stories are either too cut short or like too surface. I don't
mm.
know, maybe just to fit into a one page article or like a short interview or stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
think what we
remember,
were
right? Yeah, there was this like ad that we both saw the other day. It was of someone who was doing coaching, and they were showing how
mm.
they coach their clients, and everybody just seems so happy. Like they reach this
Ah,
point, oh, I'm so happy. It's such a dream, and it's like, hey, hang on.
question
Let's
mark,
come
question
back
mark,
to
question mark.
reality. Yes, let's come back to reality. Yes, you might
Yeah,
have come off an emotional high. And I think a lot of people, too many people actually, sell you that emotional high.
totally.
And I want to also warn you that, life is not like that. The
Yeah,
reality is you
yeah.
might have that high, but you come down crashing and you have to find your
Mm.
feet eventually.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
I mean, it definitely will be rewarding, like chasing your passion, chasing what you really want to do, trying to explore like what's more to life. But all of this are gonna be included. It's not as if like, oh, I can just ignore all of that part. Like I can just like, press the fast forward button or something. Like you can't. It's gonna be part of the journey. Like it's bittersweet. I feel like eventually you're gonna like enjoy enjoy is the wrong word. Um admire your struggles or the way you overcome it eventually.
Yeah,
Uh
like imagine, right, someone who's like maybe training for a marathon or a triathlon. They
mm,
train for it, right? It's hard work, right? I don't want to
yes.
dismiss that there is hard work. I want to people to realize the whole picture. There is pain, there's sweat, there's tears. But there's
Exactly.
also this overwhelming feeling of like, oh, I made it, achievement, and oh wow, look how far I've come as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
we want to balance it out a bit, I guess.
it's true. It's true. I love that. I love that.
Thank you, thank you.
What?
I love that too.
Mwah! I love you. It just came out. It's recorded. Shit. Okay, cannot curse, cannot curse and swear today. Okay.
It's okay, you can curse and swear and be totally normal and natural.
Censored. Okay.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
I guess the theme of this episode
Mm.
today is more of how did we get to where we are today, right? How in the world did we find ourselves in this situation of being entrepreneurs, or more specifically, soulpreneurs? Yeah. So
Do you want to give a brief explanation of what a
uh,
soulpreneur is?
okay. So a soulpreneur is like basically an entrepreneur. So you're still doing business for yourself. But I think the objectives of what you do are more of something where it's in alignment with your soul's purpose, right? And it's also more about really wanting to do good in the world, to give back, to be of service to others in this world. It can be anything that you want to do. You don't have to just do coaching. It can be like a healing sort of a business, or you can even do Reiki like what Jasmine does. But ultimately, the objective here is really in alignment with who you are, and to be of service to the people that are around you, and to, I guess, in a way, raise the vibrations of the people around you. That's what a soulpreneur is to me. Jasmine, anything to add to
I'm
it?
just here nodding like in agreement, frantically like yes, exactly. Yes, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
Mm.
So yes, now instead of me starting off with the background story, I would like to ask you to tell me, or to tell the audience, yeah, what was your background story?
You're
Like,
talking about me,
where
right?
did you start? Yeah,
Yeah,
where did
of
you
course
start?
there's only like 2% in this conversation. I don't know who am I expecting. Okay, so hopefully it's not gonna be like a really long story. So I would just like to
No worries, I will go
start.
cut if you want to go cut.
Don't cut me out. Okay, so basically in my past life, in quotes, I was in finance, and for a bigger part of my work life lah, I have been in the commercial or like the finance in advertising firms, and my last job was like probably 4 years plus. So towards the end, I guess there was a lot of like um restructuring, and there was a lot of like going on in the company itself lah, that just
Mm.
keeps adding on and on to the stress and the workload. But also that being said, right, like I think I've experienced what Tonya experienced before, in the sense of like, even when things were going well, going great, there's this always this inkling of like there should be something more there. I feel like there's no passion, there's no spark, but I don't know what is missing. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not, like, there's always this fear about moving anywhere. Is like this, just mainly the usual scarcity mindset. Like, what if I don't make it? What if I can't make money? I
Mm.
can't survive. Singapore is so expensive. Da da da. There's a lot of like negative self talk. And at that point, right, I was like, you know what? I really need to know what's my next move before I quit this job. Then everything just keep going on, like, happening in the company, that it got pretty bad for my nervous system.
Mm.
And it went on to the point where I was just really being very hyped up every day. The moment I end work, right, because we were working from home at that time, I can just lay on the floor and I just slept. I just immediately, knock out, that kind of thing.
Wow.
And sometimes during the night, I just couldn't sleep, just because I
Mm.
took the nap before. And also I was like super stressed from work. Like, what if I cannot complete this the next day? All those kind of like,
So
all
a
the work thoughts lah.
lot of thoughts
Yeah,
going through your head.
Yeah, so I know at one point it was so bad that I needed to talk to my boss, and my boss was like this super duper nice lady. So I went to talk to her and I said like something needs to change because I can't work like this forever. And then she goes like, you know what? It was COVID. Haven't been overseas for quite a while, so I think you need to go on a break. So at that point, my brother was planning a trip to Switzerland in like about 2 weeks time lah. After I talked to my boss, and I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, no harm trying, right? I could just go and see what happens, lor. So I went. It was probably around like a 2 weeks trip. Um, that was when I realized that it's not as if like I flew out of the country. I landed in a different beautiful country that my system can just like, calm down and I can just enjoy. That it was the moment I realized that it took me almost a week for my nervous system to really calm down, to really enjoy everything. And then there was one particular morning I was like, oh my god, I feel like I feel so grounded, I feel so present, especially in such a beautiful country. I woke up to a text from a colleague or ex-colleague now asking me to fill up some form. My system just went into this trance, this freeze mode that I just cannot really breathe, and I just couldn't focus on anything that particular morning, and not even anything that my brother talked to me about. And that was the moment I know like I got super duper burnout. Like I cannot keep doing this. And then as like after I took a few more days to calm down and to think like, you know what, maybe it was just in the moment, maybe it will get better. Let's just see what happened after I got back and start back work again. And then the first day, when I got back, a colleague who was kind of like handling all the stuff while I was away, right? She's like, oh my gosh, you're finally back. Nah, here's all the things that you need to do. I just broke down and cried. I was working from home and I just broke down and cried, and I was like, I know that I couldn't make it work anymore. I just cried. I just called my boss. I just wrote a resignation letter and I just resigned.
That was it. Wow.
Yeah, I just resigned. And then I resigned not knowing what's my next step, but it was kind of like an urgent move because my body just needed it. Yeah, so that was the long, lengthy story of how I got to that point.
That was how you quit the job. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't
Over
share
how
this
many
with you
months?
before, right?
No, yeah. Over how many months was it like building up for you? This last
I
stage.
I would say like all along, I would actually say this. It's known by people in the industry. Advertising industry itself is a very stressful industry. I mean, of course, it varies lah, depending on which firm, which agency you work for. But basically, it's pretty stressful, especially if you are in those kind of like bigger, and when you have a parent company, so to say, because there are like numbers to hit and stuff.
Yeah.
But I would say it got worse during COVID period, and then it just got worse after COVID ended. So I would say probably a few months, but I couldn't put a number to it lah. Yeah,
It was
kind
just
of
one
like
of those
that.
slowly building up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you tendered your resignation, and then you decided to just leave. And were you like trying to look up for something else, or were you just no, I just want to take a break and that's it?
Kind of, because I feel like, like I believe, like I believe in vibration, I believe in energy. So I know that at that point when my system is so hyped up, right, there is no way I'm gonna be a point of attraction for the next good job lah. That's yeah, I would say that. So at that point I was like very burnout. I think that my main focus was to kind of like heal my nervous system first, and then really then decide the next step. I would say that. Yeah.
Okay. So this was, when did you quit then? 2021, was it?
No, 2022
22.
May-ish, June-ish. Yeah, it's been a while now.
Wow. So you've been not working for anybody for a while then?
Yeah. I mean, of course, there are thoughts of going back to corporate, but at the same time, because of what I have encountered for a very long time, like I don't know how to put this. Like they always okay for at least the people that I've met so far, no matter how much work or how much effort I put in, right? The interview process is always gonna be, you haven't worked for a while. Like you should get a pay cut. You should, they kind of like discount my value from the start, which is I
Yeah.
think that's one of the concern lah. Like, do I really want to go through a strenuous process of like going for interviews and letting other people discredit me when I actually know my own value and my own worth,
Mm.
kind of like
Yeah.
that.
Why
Yeah,
why would a short break from work actually devalue your salary? I think that's
yeah,
complete BS,
yeah.
if you ask
I
me.
Yeah, because this is not kind of like, of course, this time around I've done something else, but before that, like in my many years back, I did take a break from work. Also, probably like half a year or so, and then I'm always being asked of like, you need to justify for the break. Like if you can't justify, there is no reason for you to like stop work. So I mean, I get that not every company is gonna operate like this, but I do still have like a PTSD from encountering a lot of that.
Yeah, PTSD
Yeah,
from the interview process, you're saying.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. I guess yeah. And so
Please
after
share
you
your
quit that
story.
job, um well, okay, maybe I can still ask you questions about how you got to where you are now with
Can
Reiki.
can
Yeah.
you want to, or you want to like, or do you want to like share yours, or we can do it together if you want to.
Uh yeah, I don't mind. I could also share my story. So at least I think for me it was quite long drawn. But the biggest part of it came in 2017, at the beginning of 2017, because I used to work for a bank, and I worked for these people for a very long time, like 9 years or 10 years or something like that, in private banking. And with banking, I think there's always mergers acquisitions going on. And at this time, my bank was bought over by another one, and so I was in that transitional phase of, transferring over the assets from the existing bank into the bank that just bought us over. What came for me was, I guess, an opportunity to sort of take stock of things, because
Mm.
I wasn't forced to move over to the other side. I was given an offer. At the same time, I was given a very good bonus to kind of stay on through the transition anyway. So it kind of gave me breathing space as well to, tell myself, hey, actually, there's an opportunity for me to take a break and I don't have to worry about things
Mm.
financially. So for me, that's why I thought, okay, I don't want to move on. And I kind of had a very strong gut feel. And actually, before all of this, I was a very logical person. So I would never pay attention to gut feel, but there was this very strong, overwhelming need to just say no and not to go over to the other side. So I followed it, and yeah, then I kind of took a break. But as soon as I took a break, I suddenly got all these health problems.
Oh,
Yeah. So I had like a breast lump scare. I mean, that kind of, even though it wasn't anything serious at that time, it was more of, the thing was, when you actually come across a breast lump, it gets quite scary already. Then your mind just kind of goes into overdrive, wondering,
yeah,
hey, is this something
easily.
serious? Did I do something wrong? What? So my mind went over there. Then the next month I had appendicitis.
Oh
I
my
know,
gosh.
yeah,
One after
suddenly,
another.
yeah. And I know appendicitis, again, medically, the doctors say, it's not something that you can pinpoint to anything. But for me, because I was already very health conscious and very careful with what I
Mm.
ate, what I did, and everything, I was very healthy. So it kind of became a shock for my system. I was like, hey, how come all these health problems are cropping up on me? And so that kind of got me into a spiral, a very downward
Mm.
spiral, and I got very paranoid. But at the same time, it was weird. I started picking up this book on meditation. It was just a
Ah.
simple vipassana meditation, right? It's just calming the mind sort of stuff. But I think the more I meditated, the more I became very sensitive to my surroundings. I started feeling things and all that, and I was like, oh, this is weird. And I got very paranoid about it. And yeah, that kind of got me into a space of exploring spiritual stuff. So some friends recommended that I go for emotional release because I was just so paranoid and so in a dark space. And so, yeah, I went into a session called emotional releasing, and then it felt almost as if a blanket just kind of lifted off my whole being. Right, I was in a very dark space. It was very heavy, very murky, and suddenly I was like, after the session, maybe about a month after the session, I was feeling very bright and light, and it felt almost as if I was never really. I realized that I was never really that happy in life, and I suddenly was so happy, and I was like, "Yeah, this is a strange part of Tonya." I was actually laughing. I was laughing out so loud. I was watching an episode of I can't remember, was it Friends or something like that? Yeah, and I laughed out so loud, and I was like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Was that really me? No, I never laughed out that loud. So yeah, that was a very interesting sort of a spiritual awakening for me. But I think for me, I didn't stop there though with the corporate life. I still continued. So a few months after, I had friends inviting me to work for a bank, but more of a contract thing. So I was like, yeah, okay, so this is a good transition for me because I didn't want to be in a high position of responsibility. And I was just happy to get some money, be paid for it, and I still had work-life balance working for banks on a project basis. So that was what I want. That was what I wanted while I tried to explore different things. So at that same time, I kind of started going for a personal training course.
Wow.
Yeah, I started going for that. So I was just like, let me just go and explore this, that, and the other.
Wow.
And yeah, and that was a good time for me to try different things. And I think eventually I found something else. I found craniosacral therapy. I found body talk, and I also started to go for courses in those two. But yeah, I kind of became a personal trainer for a while after that.
Wow. Please train me one day.
I don't know whether I can remember everything.
It'll be for fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
But
that was fun. That was really fun.
wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious, maybe not necessarily on the topic we should be talking about. I'm also like curious because I believe in some form of way we are kind of like very different people. Because for me, right, I've always got this sense of like there's something more, there's something more. I'm always actively looking out, like what is that something more? Like even though I couldn't make sense at that point, which is why I always feel like it's hard for me to fit in. For you, I feel like it's a very, I don't know, like every piece of the puzzle just falls at the right place at the right time. It kind of like lead you into this spiritual awakening. So I don't know if this is the right question. Say for like the former you or somebody who was kind of like you, how would you advise someone to kind of see beyond or like have this ever at least somewhat of a similar spiritual awakening?
As in to see beyond the spiritual awakening or to go there?
To see beyond what life is like, just do the mundane stuff, have a successful career, have money, like to really see beyond just all of that and know that there's actually more to life lah, because it felt like you were experiencing like more emotions, more happiness and a lot of emotion and a lot of feelings like there's more dear and connected to the heart. Like how would you advise for someone who is probably not that connected to kind of like, come to where you are now?
I guess you could say that we were similar in the sense that we both sort of felt this niggling feeling of there's something missing here, and I did feel it. I did feel the missing part, but I just never acted on it because I was filled with fear of giving up my life. I had good money, I had good pay, I had good working colleagues, everything, right? why would I want to give this up? But I think it was what I probably just needed to go through. I needed to appreciate that part as well. But at the same time, it's like, actually, yes, there is more to life. Although I would say it's difficult to say this to someone who's just not ready to hear it.
Actually, it's true.
It's very
It's true.
difficult. Because what they would be thinking about is what they have to give up.
Yeah, that's very true.
And to at least for you and me, what we can do right now is just show them, I guess, what we have right now, right? That sense of fulfillment, that sense of meaning, right? And that alignment with ourselves, and of not being so afraid. I think we are both still afraid of putting like 100% of ourselves out there.
Yeah.
But we are taking steps towards
Understand.
shedding away some of those layers,
Agree.
and really truly becoming ourselves. So there is a lot more fulfillment here being in this space. I know there's a lot you have to give up, but I guess in a way, it's kind of baby steps, of just making that first step, taking action, exploring, and
It's
another
true.
step.
It's very true. Like, I've always heard this phrase of like, all you need to do is to just show up authentically, and then it will just create waves, like it will just create ripples. Like, I think it took me a very long time to really understand like how does it work, but I feel like you explained that so on point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
The
So
next,
how did you fall into Reiki and mental alchemy?
Okay, so I actually was feeling pretty lost for quite a while after I quit my job, but because the main focus was kind of like to heal my nervous system back to health lah. So the I don't know, should I actually share this story, but I was just gonna share it anyway. So the funny thing is I feel like my last day was on a Monday, and it was just like let me push through everything, and after that I can just rest, I can just sleep, because I couldn't even get like proper sleep. And then I remember just like doing nothing and just relaxing for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I remember Friday waking up feeling like, my God, I feel human again. I feel like I don't feel that nervousness or the anxiety anymore. I woke up, sorry, I pulled out my phone. There was like a lot of text, a lot of phone calls. And at that point, they were like, hey, do you know your replacement has decided to leave? Would you just like to come back since you have rested for like 4 or 5 days? And I was like, pardon my curse, fuck this shit. I just realized I took so many days to heal back my nervous system, and you're asking me to come back to do it all over again. I was like, this is not freaking worth it, I remember thinking that. I was like, I don't know. I'm not gonna earn as much as I used to, at least for now.
Yeah.
But suddenly my nervous system become very important after I realized how it works. Then I started seeing a somatic therapist because I have gone through the usual route of like going to counselors, going to talk therapy, and I don't feel like it's enough, because I think most of the time what they apply for me is in the sense of like, change your actions.
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, right. So because it's focused on your mind, changing like your actions and stuff, and hopefully your emotion will change. That's when I realized that it doesn't work for me. So I started seeing a therapist to focus on, like, you were doing emotional releasing, right? Yeah, so I think it's somewhat the same for me, of like, focusing on my emotions, processing my emotions, and then eventually I realized that it helps me to get a clarity of the mind. I was like, wow, and the thing is, the behavior and the thinking, it sticks. It's not like the CBT, where I have to really be disciplined and forcing myself to take certain actions and stick with it. Like, it doesn't. Everything just comes very naturally to me. Then I was like, oh my God, like, if this modality works for me, why is it like being hard? Like, it felt very hidden from the mainstream, because I remember I did a lot of like Googling work, and like I have to Google a lot to actually even chance upon this work, somatic
Yeah.
therapy lah. But also like I also chance upon of like getting into the spiritual community space in Singapore. That's where I start to like experience a lot more spiritual awareness modalities like sound bath, cacao ceremony, tea ceremony. There's like tons of it like that. And also where it's an energy healing modality. That's where I start to realize that wow, these actually works. And I have this very strong belief lah, like we don't just have like one body. Like I always feel like we have multiple bodies. We have a mental body, we have a physical body, we have an emotional body, and we have an energetic body.
Yeah.
So of course, like I've tried multiple modalities that kind of like focus on different topics. Like even I work out a lot. Like please train me one day, PT master. Sorry. So I've like done multiple different modalities, and I feel like the like I would say the most helpful or the most efficient way, or the like with the least amount of work lah, I would say to delve into your energetic body, which is the how the Reiki works. And also mental alchemy is form of, I would say, a form of guided, tailor-made guided meditation for you, depending on like what images or what kind of emotions you feel in your body. So that I would say it targets more on your mental body and also your emotional body. And which is I have this belief, if you pair up these three, right, it can actually helps you to regulate or process a lot of emotions and energies inside of you, and that kind of like helps you raise your vibration generally.
So you're saying it's mental, and then
Reiki.
Reiki energetic, and then the third one is the physical body.
I mean, oh, you mean the amount of physical?
Physical.
Yeah,
mental.
physical, mental, emotional, and energetic.
Okay. So you use all these bodies when you work with Reiki and mental alchemy, right?
Unfortunately, only only don't have physical body.
Okay. Only don't have.
Yeah. That one I'll like, please go and exercise on your own.
Okay. Although though, I think I mean for the audience to also know, I have been a couple of sessions with Jasmine as well. I've worked with her before. I'm not sure though, because you actually did ask me before, where in your body do you feel this? So the question I have is, isn't that physical as well?
Yes. Okay, so I see it this way lah. Maybe it's like different people like put it under different category, but the emotions resides in your body, and you will still feel it in your physical body. But maybe in a way I categorize it if like, I don't know if you've heard of this before, where if let's say an animal, let's say a deer, is being attacked by being chased by a lion, then the deer will like run. And then when it reaches a point where you realize that the deer has already escaped from the lion, and then you will realize that the deer will starts to shake itself. So that is actually kind of, I would say that it actually I would say breathing together lah, kind of, where the action of shaking yourself, I would consider it physical, but you are also shaking away like the excess anxiety and stuff like that. And sometimes when we are getting off topic, but sometimes when you realize that you have a lot of anxiety, actually the best thing to do, right, is not to meditate, go out and have a run. It will actually help you to dissipate. I think that's
I know
like,
my husband's getting very stressed out by a deadline he's got, and what he does is just walks on the treadmill next door to kind of walk the stress
really
off.
stress. It does work. It does work.
Yeah. So yes, sorry, off topic, but yes, I was just curious about the whole mental, spiritual, energetic, all that bodies.
Thank you for asking.
Just curious, yeah. Yeah, where are we now? We decided to quit our job.
Okay, I think it's your turn. Like how, like your exploration of like kind of after you quit your job, I know I've heard this before. Like you've explored multiple modalities, and how do you land on astrology and human design?
Yeah, so eventually I think the last thing I did before I came into astrology was to study all kinds of holistic healing, which is also very energetic if I talk about things like body talk, although craniosacral is somewhere in between. And there was somatics involved if I was to go higher because there's something else called somato-emotional release. So that was actually why I wanted to study craniosacral as well, because I thought that, processing the emotions really helps you to heal, I guess, in a very simple way. It just helps you to heal as well. But yeah, I didn't go there. I went with Body Talk. And I think what happened with Body Talk as well was because for me, it came at a time when I was just trying to launch that business off while still working for a bank, another bank, and COVID came.
Oh,
So when COVID came, it was difficult for me to also do in-person sessions with clients. So everything just kind of dried up. And then I think during lockdowns, I discovered astrology with my teacher who talked like no other astrologer I've heard before. She talked like an economist rather than an
wow.
astrologer. She was talking about what was going to happen. She was talking about COVID. She was talking about
Wow.
the change in terms of the Earth era where we just came from to the air era, which is where we are now. Where there's a huge shift in our values and the way in which we do
Wow.
things as well. So it was amazing listening to her, and I think that's why I decided to go for her classes after watching her. Okay, so anyone who's curious about astrology, and if you're in Singapore and if you want a more local voice, you can check out Mei Sim of astrology. I'll give her a shout out here. But yeah, she's very practical in her approach. So yeah, she was the one that kind of inspired me to take astrology up. I think for Body Talk, I got into it and I thought I was in love with it, but I was more in love with the role models that I saw in there. Right, it was more that. But when I came into astrology, I really came into it for the subject itself. I was very curious always, just like you, curious in psychology, curious as to what makes a person tick, what, lights them up, what motivates them. And so that's why I went in there. And then from astrology, I went into human design as well because it was introduced to me by my best friend and coach, Sharon, uh, who took me through the process. And I think through that process, I also learned so much more about myself. And I found it even more wow, right? With human design as a personal growth sort of a way. So I think, yeah, that's kind of where it led me to where I am today using those two main tools, astrology, human design.
Yeah.
And today I use that more from a practical perspective. So, what my friend calls applied astrology. How do you apply astrology to business? How do you apply astrology to see, okay, who are my clients? Where are they coming from? What kind of a business am I running? And so on. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I got to where I am. But, at the end of the day, though, it's still a lot of exploration for me. A lot of
This.
trial and error and trying this and say, oh no, but I made a mistake here. I invested so much money here. How? But realizing that, I made all these mistakes along the way, but at the same time, I discovered so many wonderful things along the way too. So yeah, that's my journey.
I also just want to share that if you guys know me or like just seen my Instagram page, right? It's a mess. Like I don't know how to brand myself. I don't know how to market myself. Not yet, not yet. And I've attended astrology. It was the core brand essence
Yeah.
with Tonya, and I just want to say like she does amazing session. She don't do it in a way of like how we, or rather I picture it like in the past where You just sit down there 1 hour, 2 hour, then the person just say, nah, this is you. Like this is like they will just keep going on and on. Like it doesn't work like that with Tonya. I would feel it's kind of like more of a astrology, human design coaching classes where you really have a conversation. You really like talk about what are your struggles, how can she help you, and all this at the same time is more of like a I don't know about you guys because I come from a corporate world where everything is very structured. There's always a system like you know what to do next, that kind of thing. Like especially when you come into this journey of socialpreneur and when you kind of like create a modality where you feel like it's gonna help everybody, but how am I ever gonna explain to people or how am I actually perceived like by other people? Go to Tonya. She can really, really, really help you in this area. But I have to say because I still very lazy lah, I need to keep up on my social media. And also I'm at the exploring stage, which is why like I ventured more into like this, doing this with Tonya and also YouTube because I always feel like I perform is probably the wrong word. I actually show up better with just, conversation. So Tonya is really gonna help you with this.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you for doing this to me for me too. But I want to also just curious ask one question because I guess it will be for other people as well. Like for example, for us, right, is because how the journey was like start exploring after we have more time or after we quit our job. Maybe for some people, maybe they just who are ready to start exploring whether or whether or not they have quit their job. Like
Yeah.
how do you because when you were comparing like how you felt about body talk and how you felt about astrology, do you mind like going more into details for you of like how do you know that this is it, like astrology and human design, like this is it for me?
Yeah. I think that's where human design actually came into the picture for me. A lot of the things that I initiated with astrology, yes, I know the teacher and the mentor was very instrumental in giving me that inspiration. Although I don't think there was that strong need for me to be exactly a carbon copy of her because I knew we were very different personalities, right? And I think that talking to clients and talking to people, actually, I started chart reading for people. And the feeling I got was this, wow, this is amazing. I got this, wow,
My God.
this thing that completely lit me up. This thing that just got me feeling so satisfied. You hear the human design come out. And I was completely lit up when I had sessions. So as a human design generator, it's important for me to listen to my sacral energy and how does my sacral feel when I'm doing something. Because if it's not something I love, if it's not something that lights me up, then it's a good actually gauge that this is not something you should do for the long term, right? Practicalities aside, this is not something that you should do for a long term. So that's why it got me very curious because every time I did body talk sessions for people, right, I always felt very scared and very afraid that I was not going to do the right thing. I felt very afraid of not making an impact. But also the whole session right through from beginning to the end was more like it was just stressful and I just couldn't stop feeling stressful. I already had done about 100 sessions by that time.
Wow.
100.
Wow.
Okay, because in order for me to get qualified, right, as a practitioner, I had to go through several sessions. So 100 sessions is not 100 clients, but it's still 100 sessions with people, 100 hours of training. And so, with that, I think it's enough already for me to be able to tell whether I really like doing something. I think I was still striving and trying hard because I see all these wonderful people around me and I just was influenced by how much of a superstar and how special they all looked. And I wanted to be that special person too. So when I tune in back to how my body was feeling though, it's not that I was apprehensive because I was afraid and it was new. 100 sessions is no joke already, right? So I think if you give yourself enough time to try something out, and if at the end of the day it just doesn't feel right, then try something else, you know. I know I invested thousands of dollars, and maybe that's why I also felt it was so difficult to give it up at that time. I just wondered, wow, I did all this just, you know, was it a real waste of money? I think no, it was a big lesson for me, but it was something which I feel I probably needed to go through because I didn't trust myself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Totally.
that was it.
I think you're right. I think you explained it like so well. I feel a lot of people needed that, especially this is what I have learned the hard way also lah. Because the thing is, when we are young, ever since we are young, right, we have, you know, tons of authoritative figure in our life. Like, it can be our parents, it can be our teachers, it can be, you know, even when we grow up, it can be our government. And we always see that, I don't know, like, if anybody watched Maria Kondo, they always say spark joy, right?
Yeah,
You can see the spark like over there at that person. And you feel like, if I do the exact same thing, then maybe I will get that spark in me.
Yeah, that was what
you know?
I got to. Same thing.
Yeah. And then maybe sometimes when you do, like, I agree with you, like, you know, initially when we start, there will be a learning curve, we'll be nervous and this and that. But it shouldn't still feel like that by the 100th session. So I think if let's say for anybody who's like choosing to explore this, you see the spark there. Yes, it might be an indication. I may have the spark, but eventually when you start to do it, right, the spark have to come from your own heart. That's when you know, like, I land on the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, because like I think the other thing that confuses things as well, sometimes, you know, you give yourself, you give your power and authority over to someone else. So when you go to, say, an intuitive reader, when you go to an astrologer, remember that at the end of the day, you are the one who knows what's right for you or not. You know, when you kind of just give it off to someone else, it's good that they give you some ideas, right? But at the end of the day, you are the one making the decision for yourself. You are the one taking responsibility.
You're totally right. Yeah, I mean, it might be a bit off topic, but it can go on to so many different levels. Like, for example, which is why I love doing one-to-one, even though I agree that guided meditation do works as well. Like, I love doing one-to-one because it will be built off your own narrative. And for example, with you, like, people come to you for readings and stuff, right? It will be more coaching, having a conversation. And yes, even in like one-on-one setting, don't give your power away. Still try to listen to yourself, like what exactly resonate right now. And I mean, it can go on to different level of like, do you really just wake up one day and then just listen to a YouTube video that tells you like, oh, today Taurus is not going to have a good day, and then you believe it? Like, that kind of thing. It can go on to be so many different levels.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. You know, what you say is like, you can take what other people are saying for sure, but not everything is for you.
We do learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
It's a journey. So
yes.
okay, it's gonna be like a heads up for anybody who want to explore this.
Yeah. Okay, so next question I have for you is a comparison of what it's like to work for someone else in the corporate world versus doing your own thing.
Okay.
What's that like for you?
I'm gonna provide a woo perspective.
Okay.
That is always been on my mind a while now. Because the thing is, I do, of course, I do see things in the 3D sense of like how we operate, and how, you know, how the physical world works. But I also believe that our vibration and our energy do have an impact of that. So I feel like when, you know, in a usual big corporation, there is always this sense, I don't know whether it's for me or for everybody else lah. If you pass the interview and then you got an in, right? You enter the company, it kind of guarantees you roughly a fixed income every month. And I mean, to be honest, I don't feel like corporates actually fire people that easily unless you do something like really, really bad. that they can justify firing you. If not, right, there is always this safety net for you. So, which is why I feel like it's always very imbalance. Like the people working in corporate, there will be like freeloaders, there will be people who don't work as much but they still get the income. There will be people who like for example for me, I don't know how to draw my boundary. I always overworked and I'm still there, that kind of thing. So no matter what, it always feels like there is a safety net. But ever since I start to do this on my own, right, there was this realization of like, you know what, everything, every client, everything that I'm going to attract back in, right, even to the things that I have to do, like wearing so many hats, like doing my own finances, doing up my own Instagram, taking my own videos, that kind of thing. Like it all falls on me, and suddenly my vibration becomes like the thing that has to like everything kind of like rely on lah, so to say. Then it became like I really need to start to take care of myself, and I really need to start like thinking thoroughly for everything that I do or I practice or like I stand for, that kind of thing. And yeah, so it's also fun and not fun in a way where when I'm at this place, right, like the people that I attract into my life, and I like all the clients and everything, when I start to reflect, and also the income and everything, it's gonna be like there's no more safety net anymore. It's a direct reflection of the work I put in, my own vibration. And you don't have like somebody else to blame anymore lah. Like if I'm in a corporate, I'll be like, oh, that person bully me because my boss say no, because because of that.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you don't have anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I feel like there's nothing to hide behind, right? You can't blame a bad day on a boss or a bad colleague or a bad thing happening. Or you can't blame it on I guess you can't blame anybody right now. Everything
It's
comes
true.
back to you being in your
It's
one.
true.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think similar, right? Like I guess the comfort and the safety that it gave me was good. Although I have to say, in this current day and age, looking at all the mergers and acquisitions going on and companies shutting down, question I have back for you is really, is your job secure or not?
That's true.
I
That's very true.
seriously doubt so. I seriously doubt so in this day and age. I mean, like banking, right? Just look at UBS and Credit Suisse. Like, wow, Credit Suisse just kind of, that's it. Everybody just kind of went, oh no. So I guess, and it's not just that industry, right? So many industries are consolidating.
It's true.
So many things are closing down, and AI is coming up. There are jobs being replaced. There are new jobs being created, of course. But is there really such a thing as job security? I'm not sure.
I'm just curious because I think earlier you were sharing a little bit about like what your teachers say about talking about the economy and stuff like that. And currently it's the, what do you call it, like the period of air, is it?
The air era, yes, the air era.
Did that kind of like, I don't know, the prediction cover a little bit of what you're seeing in the
yes, I guess. I mean, these are actually some things that I'm already starting to notice, right? I mean, the Earth era was very much about profits, about the use of resources, like material resources, and a lot of the times people try to do things in a way where, if you're in a business, you're just in it to make money, right? A lot of people in the last, say, 20, or I would say even the last 100 years or so, that was the start of the industrial age, where people started to come out into the cities, work in factories, standardize things and all that. But now we're moving into something called the air era, which is more like Aquarius. It has a feel of Aquarius, so there's a lot of use of technology. People don't pay as much attention to money for the sake of money. And there are, I would say, more people are into the idea of something more authentic. So if you see Aquarius, it's about authenticity, it's about freedom. I mean, they're both pros and cons. Don't get me wrong, that it's all good. It's not all
Definitely.
great, but it's just a switch in terms of values that you see. A lot more people wanting to do humanitarian things, things for the environment, things for the poor people, things for the woman empowerment thing. There's a lot going on. So
Wow.
I guess I do see a switch in people's values. Like even in investing, you're actually talking about impact investing. What does this company's values, stand for, and do I want to support that, right? So there's a lot of
Yeah.
that going in terms of what is truly authentic. People are questioning all
Understand.
that.
Understand. I
Yeah.
feel like I don't, maybe like the switch in energy, which is kind of like, even though it kind of hit us earlier because technically it started this year, right? I think it's about like the same period, and I feel like it's gonna hit more and more people to feel like that. And yeah, hopefully this podcast is gonna support more people like
Yeah.
through this transition.
We hope so too, yes.
She look at the video, she's so cute. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. I'm so happy to share all of this stuff with you, and
Thank you.
I think it's a nice conversation we have going so far for our first episode. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, of course, I think I'm like less nervous now lah for some reason.
Okay, we have been talking for 1 hour, okay?
Right. I was like, not bad, not bad. I thought I'm just gonna like sit here, be silent. I was like, I don't know what I talk about.
No. I think we're good.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about what it's like to do work for someone else versus do our own thing. And I guess for me as well, it's a feeling of, how when you're working for a company, people don't actually see you for you.
Yeah.
And now when I'm doing my own thing, all my own shit, so to say, all my own shit comes up for me as well. So that's what I like about this journey, because it's not just about owning a business. It's not just
It's true.
about earning in a different way. It's also so much about personal growth, because what you put out, you get back.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So if you put out shit, you're gonna get shit back, basically.
It's true. It's so true.
If you put fear out, you're going to get fear back as well. So yeah, I think it shows in the business
It does.
in
It
terms
does.
of what we're putting out, right? And in
Yeah.
astrology, we always say as above and so below, or something like that.
It's true. It's true. It's true. The Hermetic principle. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very good reminder of like I mean, I don't know if I can put it this way, but like I understand, like even for me, I was in the corporate for so long, like while it's stressful, it's not good for my body, it's not good for my health, right? There is always this feeling of like, it's okay, I can relax, so to say, that I don't have to rely so much on my vibration. But again, like vibration comes from like everything you just said. Like, do I do my shadow work? Do I do my inner work? Do I have like the capacity to reflect and do emotional work? That kind of thing. Like everything relies on that. So there is always this sense of like relax, of like, hey, actually I may suffer, but I may just don't need to be so diligent lah in my healing work if I'm in the corporate law. But when I come out, it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be so exciting. I may reap all of the rewards, like it may be kind of like a huge reward if I done all my inner work. But if I never, it's gonna freaking show.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Like if you don't take care of yourself, then how are you going to deliver what you need to deliver to your clients as well, right?
It's true.
If you don't fill your cup.
Yeah.
Whereas
yeah,
if you don't fill your cup in corporate, take MC lah.
Yeah, actually it's true. It's so true. And I agree with the not being seen part, because to be honest, I take comfort in the not being seen part, because I always have issues showing up. I think Tonya knows. Like I told her, like I just read to her like so many times. I have such a hard time showing up on screen, which is why go to like my past social media and stuff like that, like nothing on. Only recently, after I started doing this, I know that I have to show up. But I've got of course like a lot more things to deal with, like the negative comments, people gossiping, whatever it is, right? It's not gonna be easy, but also it's gonna be rewarding. It's gonna be rewarding. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it
Yeah.
rewarding. I love it.
I love
Okay,
you.
so I love you too.
She's just watching here. Yes. Sorry.
Okay,
Next one.
so I would say that I think maybe just a little bit of words of wisdom. If you were put in this situation, a question for you lah. If you're put in this situation where you were still kind of considering whether or not you want to change your job or whether or not you want to quit your job, what do you wish that your future self had told you at that point in time? What wisdom do you wish you had been told?
I wish two things. I think the first thing that I want to say to myself is because that time I was so much fear about money, about scarcity, right? Then I was like, I'm gonna decide my next step first before I quit, which is why I hang on all the way till I got so burnt out that in that state, right, I'm never actually gonna figure out my next step because I wasn't in the right headspace, I wasn't in the right vibration. Like I'm not gonna get there. So I mean if I already have reached a stage where I was so burnt out, right, I'll be like, you know what, just quit, just relax. Don't even force yourself to think about it. But the other thing that if I were to, you know, can really have a redo, the other thing is that for myself and for everybody is you actually don't have to quit to heal or to be in a better space, because of course it will be easier for you, easier on your body if you can have like a sabbatical to just like rest, to just like heal lah, to look at all your traumas, all your issues and stuff. But if you have the capacity, you can actually, you know, heal while you work. Like for me, I always have issues setting boundaries. I've always have issues saying no. I've issues like being confident and, you know, to take credit and ask things for myself, that kind of thing. So if I were to, you know, start doing therapy or getting support while I was working, I could have still been earning and also actually have the right triggers at that point of time while I heal, right, I could have healed so much better and so much faster. Yeah, that would what I would tell myself.
Okay, so basically you're saying you can help yourself. You don't have to go to the extent of quitting. You
Yeah,
can help
yeah.
yourself.
It's gonna take a lot of effort. It's gonna take a lot of courage, but I don't see it being like totally not doable lah. But that being said, I understand some workplace can be very
Toxic.
very unhealthy. Yes, very toxic for you to do
Yeah.
that. So of course have your own discernment. But I wouldn't say like it's a flat no for every workplace out there that is possible.
Got it, got it. Okay.
Yeah. How about yourself?
I guess if I was put in that situation right now of, feeling, I guess, where I would be is probably be doubtful of my next steps and not sure, where I'm headed. What is the thing I wish my future self could have told me? I think similarly, I would have wished my future self could have just told me as well that, it's okay. You just need to explore. Just give yourself time to explore many
Yeah.
different things. I think a lot of the time when we are at that stage, we actually do wonder whether we're good for anything else.
It's true.
You
It's very
might
true.
feel like you're a one-trick pony and
It's
what
true.
else can I do? I'm just a very good accountant. That's all I'm good at doing. And I don't think anyone's going to pay me for XYZ, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you haven't even started to explore,
It's so
to
true.
give yourself that chance to do it. And I think you first need to start stepping out and give yourself, go for a course, connect with someone new, go for another event, learn something new that you've always been fascinated about. and
Yeah.
give yourself a chance, really.
Yeah.
You're not meant to be a one-trick pony. I'm sure that you
It's
have
true.
many different talents, and
Yeah.
that's what I wish my future self would have told me as well.
It's so true. I feel like we need to tell not just like all people considering this. I feel like we need to tell like everybody, especially the kids. Because I feel like even parents or like people nowadays, right, they will like ask kids like, what's your ambition? What do you want to do? And then it felt like if you do that, you're gonna like be stuck with it for the rest of your life. And also, to be honest, like even like as a kid, right, I remember like the options that were given to me were so limited,
Yes.
right?
Same.
There's so many
Lawyer,
things that we don't know.
doctor, accountant, engineer. Which one? Pick.
Hey, somehow I remember mine got astronaut leh. Not bad. I can choose for astronaut.
Wow.
Like, I'm like, yeah, it felt. I mean, like, can you imagine, like, as a kid, I said, I want to be an astrologer. I'll be a 八字 reader. You know, that kind of like we
Wow.
weren't given that option.
No, never in a million years at that age will I actually have thought, oh yes, I want to do astrology. No way, man.
Yeah, man. Which is why it's like just like for people who are considering, right? Don't forget what kind of environment and what kind of questions, like what kind of box lah we were presented as when we were a kid. So right now, right, I don't think some of us have entirely removed that box from our mind, which is actually still limiting us.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so many I think since I quit my job, since I stopped working for someone else, it's really been exploration after exploration into what I can do. And it's not necessarily even related to what I do for work, but it's what gives me enjoyment, what gives me
Yes.
joy. So I
Yes.
think if you just start to just step into that without thinking about the end goal is must find a job, right?
Yes.
Especially if you're a generator, especially if you have sacrals, a sacral that is defined in human design. Yeah, that's you too. So
Us.
I
It's
think,
us.
I think that will give you a better sense of direction. Even
You're right.
it's not meant to be linear. The journey is never linear, right? It's always
Yeah.
kind of windy and bendy, and then you kind of hit a wall, and then you have to go back and then go somewhere else, and try. So
Yeah. And I think
yeah.
I just want to like point out also like how we were brought up thinking that work doesn't equivalent to fun, to passion, to things that
Yeah.
lights us up.
Mm.
So not gonna say so much into it, but it will be like I think if you think that way, I think you need to rethink this concept. Like, give yourself a chance to rethink this. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yay! My God, we've been talking non-stop.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool?
It's fun.
Cool.
Shall we
Yes.
talk about the next episode?
Yes. So what's up for the next episode, Jasmine?
Ayo, now ask me to say this I kanchong sia. Okay, so after our like such a long talk, if you follow listen all the way until the end, I hope that you are like, I don't know, doing some household chore or doing something else because it's like freaking long. And we just get detour like so many times along the way. Yeah, but anyway, if you have, kind of decided that, hey, you know what, this sounds good. I want to make the transition. And yeah, I want to do this. Why not, right? The next episode we'll be talking more about the things that we encounter, which all of the mistakes that we make, because we got no guidance, so and hopefully that can help you to like consider or like be mentally prepared what are the challenges or what things you might have to face like. Yeah, something
Absolutely.
like that.
Yes. Things about
Yes.
more detail. We go deeper into making that transition
Yes.
and what happened to us during that transition. But I think we shared a little bit of it already, but I'm sure we
Yeah,
go
it's
into
true.
deeper.
We
Yeah.
will.
Okay,
Are we doing this about like once a month?
Yeah, I think I forgot to mention it earlier that
It's okay, we can
do
mention
about,
it now.
yeah, we'll do this about once a month. We might feature some guest stars from time to time.
Yeah.
I think I have some pretty inspiring women entrepreneurs in my community as well, whom I like to feature from time to time. So yes, we're looking
Thank
forward to
you.
this.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it more fun, more opinions.
Yes, that'll be cool.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for today.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who listens.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy this.
Yeah,
As
we
much
hope
as
you
we do.
enjoy it. Yes,
Woo.
I think I'm going to upload this to Spotify as well so that people can listen to this on their
Yes,
headphones while they're doing housework.
I think we have to.
Okay, thank you, people.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye bye.